Hello, I'm Herm Gailey. We're here to respond to a request we had from my friend Buzz Clay to show how we introduced our horses to scary objects. In the last video we did dealing with starting a trail horse, or a better trained horse is a better trail horse, we showed how horses react to scary objects who've been exposed. This filly has not been exposed. So I'd rather be doing this with one that I could ride, but all of my riding horses have sort of been through this program before. So this is a yearling filly. She has not been exposed to any of these things. She is a 13-and-a-half-month-old filly that we got in the fall of 2019 at the Open Box Rafter Ranch sale. We were out there. It was in Rapid City, South Dakota. Can't say enough about that experience. Quality horses, quality people, quality experience all around. We were looking for bigger horses with a bit more bone and a good mind. And so far, this filly and the colt we bought out there have both fit that bill really well. So we're going to go through the process we go through with scary objects. And meantime, shout out to the Hunt family in South Dakota. Their sale is again this September 12th, 2020, I think. I believe they live stream it. If you're looking for a nice young horse, or you just want to see a bunch of nice young horses, it's a great place to go. They were AQHA Ranching Heritage Breeder of the Year in 2019. I believe they got the award, I guess, in early 2020. Quite an honor, well deserved. So shout out to you folks out there in South Dakota. It was a great trip. Nice horses, good people. So, this filly, first of all, you try to start out with a nice horse. I've got horses here in the barn that I think started a lot harder than this filly is when they had to be exposed to things like this. I think this filly's going to be okay. That's maybe famous last words, but I'm willing to predict that. Second thing you need is that your horse trusts you. When these horses arrived in from South Dakota, they'd been handled very little. They were barely halter broke. They'd had a long trip. We let them spend some time with us, learning just to be around people, get socialized. I didn't shower a bunch of training and schooling on them. Let them just settle in. And that means that when you do put a little pressure on them and ask them to do things, they're not wondering if you're going to kill them. They know you're not going to kill them. They just wonder how to please you. So that's pretty much where I hope we are with this filly. The only thing that I think is critical before you expose your horse to scary objects is to make sure that they're not going to pull on you if they do get scared. So what I like to do, I'm not looking for her to go around me, I'm looking for her to yield. See how she shifts her back end? The safe place is facing me. So even if she moves, which is fine, she just relaxes, and this is the safe spot. Very important to have the horse to where they're not going to pull you off your feet, because you set the stage for things to get ugly. So as we said in our earliest videos, you want to start way upstream if you want to cross the river. You'll drown if you start too far down. So this one, we're going to see. She has not seen any of these things. One of the reasons I've been running my mouth out here is the whole time I'm out here, she's getting at least an eyeball on these things, so that I'm not just taking her out here and pitching stuff at her. But now it's time to take her up here and let her kind of see if she's curious about these things. And she's never been flagged, and that flag is sticking up. And she wants to see what it is. Curiosity is the antidote for fear. So that curiosity is a good thing. Now, if she'd picked that out like she wanted to, she might have been flagging herself, and I'm not sure she was quite ready for that. Now, what I'm not going to do is hold her, but I'm going to show her this flag. I'm not going to go at her with the flag. I'm going to let her go at the flag. You see, she's pretty sure that she's chasing that flag away from her and that she's in charge of the situation and that it can't hurt her because she can chase it away. And after a bit, she's going to sort of say, well, could I please catch the doggone thing? Well, sure. You want to catch it? There it is. There it is. Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty typical, and that's a good thing, see? And she might claw the flag off my stick. That's okay. I want her to interact with it, and it's that simple if they're ready. That's the key component here. If I'd done this when this filly'd been in here for 10 days and she was just a little wild Indian running around thinking she maybe never needed to get handled, it wouldn't have gone so well. But now you can see, and this filly has never seen a flag in her life, that this is not a real big deal for her. There's an old saying, the best way to make something a big deal is to make it a big deal. So I just act like, well, why wouldn't you put up with that, Josie? That's her name, Josie. She's living with a big old buckskin horse named Joe, and he's teaching her how to be a good young buckskin horse. So you don't have to be aggressive, but you don't need to sneak around them either. Now motion always adds a little bit of difficulty, so you know, I want her to know that she can move and have that flag on her. And we could go through this whole routine of, well, let's beat the ground and let's wag the flag around different speeds, all of which is worth doing. But I think it's more worthwhile to introduce these horses to a variety of things. Because at the end of the day, if you're out riding along a road and somebody comes by on a bicycle, they're probably not going to attack you with a flag. Why get them just sensitized to one thing? You have to get them to where they learn to accept the unexpected. That they look to you and say, you've never sold me out yet. I'm going to trust you and go along with your little program here. That little bit of extra noise she's feeling, but I'm actually going to bring her over here, touch her with the flag, wiggle it around, and do something else. No need to dwell on that. There are three ways we kill our horses. Not literally, but figuratively. We can scare them to death, we can work them to death, but we can damn sure bore them to death. And a lot of folks, particularly back east here, seem bound and determined to see if they can insult their horse's intelligence and bore them to death by showing them things they already know how to do again and again. So same deal. Milk jugs, that's my go-to thing. She's never seen them. She's kind of catching on to the idea that she can chase these things away. And she actually seems to like the milk jugs better than the flag. She says, that flag was a little dull and boring. Those milk jugs make a noise. I bet I could chew them. I bet I could paw at them. I bet I could chase them away. So see how she's getting closer? Pretty quick she'll probably put a foot on them. That'd be pretty typical. Now this goes as far and it takes as long as what makes sense today. You never have an agenda. If she'd have been scared to death of the flag, that might have been all I did today. If she'd have been scared to death of this might have been my stopping point. But what I'm trying to do is build a horse that says, it's okay by definition if you're asking me to do it, because you've never gotten me in trouble yet. So, you know, you just sort of take these things, and I understand why a person might say, well, how many times has she had this done? You know, are you just making this up? Well, why would I do that? I don't need to look that good because I've gone through my whole life not looking that good. I'm just liking the fact, see, now she's worried. I was a little aggressive, but we can live through that. That's just fine. That's another opportunity. So, you know, this is different. It went to the other side. Probably not the best way to do it, because you can jump one on top of you by moving to the other side like that. But, you know, there are times when you're working with horses when you're going to flirt with a bit of danger and say, do I feel lucky? And this filly kind of makes me feel lucky. Of course, that's also how you get hurt. So I'm not really promoting taking senseless chances, but do dangerous things in a careful way. Haven't really worked on this side at all, so we'll get over here on the right side, where a lot of horses, this one included, are a bit more sensitive. They haven't had as much training on the offside. So see, what her default is to move her hip away, which is okay, but not take the slack out. So there we go. We sort of got her over that little hump, I think. Now, that tight spot with the other stuff in there, that was more troubling to her than when she could just focus on this one thing. So I'm just going to massage her a little bit with these milk jugs. And some of that calmness is a little bit of an illusion, but it'll build. This isn't the only time I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to just shower these milk jugs on her for 2 hours until she just gives up. I'm going to get her used to them, quit on a good note, and move on to some other thing. So this filly has absolutely never seen a tarp, and who knows, maybe this will be the point where she says enough already. Let's find out. I also have to confess that I am not of the school of thought that you fold it up into a tiny little napkin-sized package and touch them with it. Oh, heck. It's a tarp, not a napkin. Let them see it. Let them learn to follow it. Now, she's getting onto this idea of following things. And that's so important. And you want your horse to drop their head like that. Now, eventually, you might want her to walk on this. I'm not going to make her walk on it. I'm going to maybe see if she wants to touch it with her foot. Like that. That was right on cue, Josie. Thank you. So what I'm trying to do is mindful groundwork. Aware of the individual horse, the particular circumstances, as opposed to just having a program or a goal or an agenda that I'm trying to force the horse into. I would hope that you're never going to see this filly forced to do anything, because she has so much to offer. And why would you force an issue when the horse is trying to do the right thing? So that could be exciting, but I'm not excited, and she's going to get over it pretty quick. There's a lady named Jane Smiley who wrote a wonderful book called Horse Heaven about the career of several horses at the racetrack. And she was talking about a real good horse handler, and she said, the ideal horseman has hands of silk, feet of lead, and the disposition of a sandbag. I've pretty much got the sandbag part down. I'm working on the other two. But if you're excitable, probably you ought to get a bicycle, because the bicycle's not going to worry that you're excited. Horse is going to feel that, and they're going to feel contagious, and it's going to be a problem. What's ironic is, you can't see this, but behind us is the scariest object of all. And let's deviate over here. The scariest object is my wife, who's sitting quietly and watching, and who this filly is pretty sure is there to kill her. so why don't you stand up and say hello to her, Jane? You don't want to be on camera. Well, she's pretty sure you're lurking. So it's just Mom. It's all good. That's what's had her jumping. It's not the scary objects, it's the scary woman. I've been married for over 40 years. I can sympathize. So we're back to the not so scary tarp. Now here's what I sense. I sense that I could get her to walk over this, but that might be getting greedy. We'll let her decide. There you go. And again, know when to quit. That's a good ending for that part. What else do we have? Well, we got a shipment of things from Chewy.com. Came in cardboard boxes. I've never used a cardboard box before to desensitize a horse to anything, but who knows? With the world being driven by internet sales and deliveries, maybe every time you go trail riding, there's going to be Chewy.com boxes everywhere. So let's see if I can come up with some sort of a half-witted rig that I can drag this, because I'd like to be able to. Because it would be a shame to not have her able to chase this cardboard box. And that was nice. She went between a couple of things there. And here is an important and useful thing. This filly is getting more confident, not less, as this process goes on. And I think that feels good to her, and I can hardly tell you how good it feels to me to think that I'm building a braver, more confident horse, instead of teaching her to be scared and get over it. She doesn't need to be scared, because she's not a foolish little horse. Now the trick here is she's ready. Now she walked away. Do I jerk her around and say, where are you going? You need to face that box? No, you don't need to face that box. If you need to move your feet, move your feet. But pretty quick you'll find you don't need to. So let's use this box in a little different context here. We give her a little cardboard massage. See how that works? Right. Now, one thing that anybody who's watching should notice, I was in a very stupid position there right in front of her, because if she would feel like she needed to strike at that box, she would have taken me out too. You have to be careful with these horses that are calm and nice. There's an old Mexican saying, your gentlest horse will hurt you the worst. I've been posting quotes up every week. That's going to be one of them, because it's so true. It's always the quiet one that comes to life, jumps in the middle of you, and puts you in plaster. So what do you think about that, Josie? Is that thing all right? There you go. So, what I have accomplished today is to make yet another boring video, which pleases me to no end, because when training your horse is working, it's going to be dull and boring. This filly wanted to be a nice horse. I will say I called it, and she came through. I could brag on myself, but I'm more inclined to brag on this girl. Thank you, Josie. Well done. If this helps anybody get their horses acquainted with scary objects, that's great. Keep the requests coming. We've got another one about teaching the horse some advanced maneuvers, more like side passing and so on. And we're going to get that up pretty shortly because I'd really like to respond to what people want to see. So that's where we are. That's where we're headed. Hope you'll come there with us. Thanks.